Pardon. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Gustav. How are you?
Nice, thanks. First of all, thank you for these few minutes. Um, so tell me, how are you feeling about playing in Mexico again?
Oh, very, very excited. It's one of our favorite places in the world to play, if not our favorite place to play. We have a very special bond with our Mexican fan base, so we're excited to get back there.
Nice. And in Mexico, we are huge fans of emo genres. It's a country where genres like post-hardcore and metalcore and screamo and other subgenres are experiencing an impressive revival in these years. But for a while, fans suffered a lot of bullying in this scene. So, what do you have to say to the Mexican fans who live in the shadows all these years?
Who live in the shadows of the years of liking this kind of music, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I keep coming back to is just it's amazing how an entirely new generation of fans have entered the picture when it comes to this style of music, which I don't think 16 years ago when this record came out, if we would have ever seen that coming, right? I mean, you create art, you always hope it's eternal, you hope it lives forever. That's sort of the point. But to be experiencing this sort of, rebirth of an interest in the style of music is incredible. And I think it's a testament, not just to us and the records we wrote, but all the great and wonderful bands that came from that era too, who were a part of building this and and getting to see everybody have this newfound attention and success is awesome.
Nice. Thanks. Now let's talk about The Emptiness. It's been 16 years since that amazing album. What has it been like playing the songs again and revisiting that masterpiece?
Yeah, I think it's nostalgia, right? It's a time capsule. It's you are where you are in life right now, but it's inevitable. I hit the first chord of that record and I'm immediately kind of taken back to when it first came out. And I think living stuck in the past is not a good thing, but revisiting it and remembering the wonderful stuff that was there when it happened is an awesome thing. It's almost like popping in a home video and watching some old footage of you from when you were younger. It's like it just takes you back to a time that was so special that maybe in that moment you weren't paying attention to everything because you were working hard and trying to create it. So getting to go back and see it through a different lens is like it just reminds you of how special it was.
Nice. Now about the music in the album, Edgar Allan Poe's Reign of Terror is perfectly reflected in the music and in the history of this character called the artist. And the album sounds definitely evoke darkness. And how did you transform the literature into music with such details and such emotions?
So I think the big thing too, and you touch on the idea of darkness there, and that's certainly an element in the record and in the story. Uh, my viewpoint on the idea of darkness is actually to bring attention to light. Underneath every song and every bit of that story is the idea of hope and of light and its battle against darkness. And the analogy I like to use is that, if you shine a light on a light, it makes you blind. You can't see in any direction. But if you invite some darkness in and shine a light on that, you can see everything that was once dark and it helps you solve those problems and work through those things. And that's what's at the crux of that story is we're trying to tell the story of this character who's in a very dark place, but it's actually the light that comes in and rescues him from that darkness. What was the second part of your question there? I'm sorry, I forgot it.
How did you transform literature into
Ah, yes.
music?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a very, very visual person, and the idea was we wanted you to be able to close your eyes, and when you heard the record, you could see the record, if that makes any sense. And to have people even say that that's how the record makes them feel is like just this wild compliment of like, because that's crazy. That's exactly what we were going for. And I think for us, it was just about keeping the story in at the front of our mind and in our heart as we wrote the music so that the story was showing up where it could, right? If a character's feeling a certain way in this exact scene, what would that feeling sound like? And kind of bringing that to the forefront. Like a song like Hymn for the Shameless always jumps out to the front of my mind because that song has this very kind of ethereal sway to it, even when it gets very, very heavy. And that's very much like the point of the story that we're at there is sort of that feeling. And you might not even like notice it as it's happening, but again, that song has this sway back and forth to it the whole time. And it, when you realize that, you're like, oh, right, that's what the character's in. It's in this kind of headspace. So a lot of effort went into that for sure.
Nice. And about the lyrics of the album, The Emptiness speaks poetically of many mental disorders like psychosis or madness or emptiness, depression, and extreme love. So, did you ever feel a responsibility to the public for speaking about these emotions and other emotions?
Sure. So I think that all great art and the artists who create it, we should be making it for two very specific reasons. We should be making it for how we feel about it, and we should be making it so that whoever experiences it is open to feel how they want to feel about it. And so our discussion of all of those different emotions and mindsets and things like that was to try and invite as many in as possible with that, right? Like, hey, if a character is feeling this certain way and you can relate to that character, great. Come to this record and try and find some sort of experience through that. And we were trying our best not to, it wasn't necessarily about inviting everyone as much as it was trying not to alienate anyone.
Yeah.
And I think allowing our art to be interpreted however you want it to be is a big part of that journey. If somebody were ever to come up to me and be like, this song means this to me, I'd be like, that's wonderful. Like that, I want it to mean to you whatever it's supposed to mean to you. I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, no, the song was actually about this and it's supposed to make you feel this way. It's like, no, it makes me feel that way. I want it to make it you feel however you feel when you experience it. And I'm open and ready to have that conversation with you if you want to.
Nice. Now about this Annabelle Lee's poem in the album, this poem speaks of a different kind of love, and I want to know what is your current relationship with this poem and with the lyrics on the album. Has your perspective changed since you wrote 16 years ago?
Yeah, I think the most important theme that is going on in the story is the idea of reflection. There's a lot of discussions about mirrors and seeing things, and I think checking in with yourself and as often as possible, seeing where you came from, where you're going, all those things is so important. And that's why the use of mirrors and reflection and what those reflections mean. And can you step through a mirror? Does it stop you when you try to? And all those things. That is eternal. Right now, does that mirror look the same way when I look in it that it did 16 years ago? Of course not. But it doesn't make the messaging any less powerful or any less relevant or pertinent to where I am in life right now. And that's what I've always hoped that people get from the story, right? Is that the story grows along with you. One of my favorite books of all time is a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And the reason I love that book so much and I read it once a year is because it changes with me. Every time I read it, it's forcing me to reflect on right now, not then, but right now. And that's always sort of been my larger hope with The Emptiness is that yes, it meant this to me when I was 19 or 20 years old, but it means this to me when I'm 35 years old, or it means this to me when I'm 50 years old. And that's the big hope.
Nice. Now, regarding what you were saying about your message and this, yeah, this alienation, uh, the United States it's currently experiencing a significant political moment. Uh, do you think musicians can be the heroes that society needs?
I think art is and always has been a hero, and it's just about how much you want to accept it into your heart. I think there's no greater way to express emotion and thoughts and create community and cohabitation and unity than through art. And what greater art form than music to do that?
Nice. And finally, metalcore and screamo and post-hardcore genres had a period of great recognition with bands like Alesana or Avenged Sevenfold or Bless the Fall. And most of the bands are still playing. Avenged just played in the biggest concert stadium in Mexico a
Very
few
cool.
weeks ago. Are you proud of the scene you built all these years?
It's what an interesting question because I don't think we ever viewed ourselves as architects of anything, right? We were just trying to stay true to our art and the stuff we were creating in hopes that it would impact people and live as long as it could. I do think that now, all these years later, when you see just how strong that era is and continues to be, there's definite sense of pride that comes with it. I, I think it was not necessarily lost on us at the time because I don't think there was anything to lose because we weren't aware of it. But in reflecting on it now, how much of a leadership we were and sort of pioneers of bringing this type of music down into Mexico. I mean, when you look at the timeline, we were truly one of the first bands to go down there with this style, and it was met with such love and warmth and welcome and sighs. And at the time, it's like, wow, this is really cool. But when you reflect on it all these years later, it's like that was a really, really special moment in time. And what it allows us to have is no matter who got the biggest or who went the furthest and all this, we will always forever for the remainder of time have a little bit of a piece of that. And we have a little bit of responsibility to that amazing growth of this music. And it's probably one of the biggest accomplishments of our career as we reflect.
Nice. That's all for me. Thank you. Do you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, other than I can't wait. I can't believe how close these shows are. I expect the high energy and the high love that we always receive when we're down there, and we hope that we give it right back to you.